So the next part of this educational component is I'd like to tell you about the 3 stages of addiction. These can move fast for some, or it can be a slow moving vehicle. Stage 1 is the binge and intoxication. This is like the last cycle that I showed you with the highs and the lows. And another thing I forgot to mention is that recovery period. When somebody is binge drinking, binge gambling, binge using pornography, they're oftentimes not spending enough time in recovery mode. So we have a need to recover, but it doesn't necessarily that we give in to that need. Instead, we keep going because we want to engage in the stimulating behavior that we've chosen. So stage 1 is a strong emphasis on the dopamine production. Interestingly, dopamine kind of acts as a gas pedal. Now there's something that we produce called serotonin, and serotonin is connected to our mood stability. It can also be connected to our rational thinking. So when we are pushing our gas pedal with dopamine, it's flooding our system and we are not producing serotonin, which can actually act as our brake. Another area of the brain that starts to shift in stage 1 is that we have something called a ventral striatum. It's the area in our brain that's responsible for the reward system. If you play games, achieving a level, unlocking a skin, it actually lights up a lot of dopamine in our brain. Our reward system goes off. If you win when you're gambling, if you find a good pornography video, if you find a substance and you're at a party and you're having fun, it's lighting up the reward center in the brain. Now, oftentimes when I work with folks, they'll say, well, Ashley, I no longer want to do this. I'm not feeling good about it, or I've developed a little bit of a numbness to it. That tells me that it's no longer activating the ventral striatum where we perceive rewards, rather it's switched into the dorsal striatum. And this is our habit hub. So addiction becomes habitual. Because of that tolerance and dependency piece, it's not easy to just quit cold turkey and not go back to it. What do we know about habits is they're really hard to break, but they're not impossible. Stage 2 of the addiction is the withdrawal and negative effect. This is where a person tries to make changes, or maybe due to financial issues, they can no longer ingest or engage in the behavior as they once were. This becomes a really uncomfortable state. This is because when people have ingested it or they're gambling, they feel high, they're producing that dopamine, it's flooding their system, it feels really good. But when they don't have the substance, you go through withdrawal. The body physically reacts to not having that in the system, and you actually feel that new baseline, that new normal that we talked about before. So you actually start to feel the uncomfortable emotions. You feel guilt and shame, you feel depression, and that becomes so uncomfortable that the person just wants to go back and start using again because it's hard to sit with the uncomfortable emotions. What also starts to happen is we start to produce higher amounts of stress hormones. So the body starts to signal that you are not safe, that you are overwhelmed, that something's wrong. So the withdrawal and negative effect, the stage 2, is a very uncomfortable state for people to be in. What this also shows is that the prefrontal cortex, responsible for a lot of logical thinking, decision making, it's really impacted when all somebody is doing is going through withdrawal. So what happens is this is when people become very impulsive. They step outside their moral compass, and some people will steal. Some people will do things that they just never thought that they would. Stage 3 is something that I want to show you in another activity.